Welcome to Pera Pera, a podcast hosted by me, Pabs, and my co-host Qays and Ben, where we discuss anime and other aspects of geek culture. So, how's your week been so far?
I've been pretty okay. Basically gearing up towards the house purchase. Not house purchase, a flat. I'm buying a flat, not a house. I wish I was buying a house. A flat. Yeah, I've been pretty busy with that, and I'm going to get the keys for it, I think, next week, Wednesday. So, very nearly there. I can breathe a little bit easier soon.
Good luck, man.
Thank you, thank you.
More time to watch some anime.
Yes, he's hoping. I'll have a better setup. I'll have my own TV. I won't be relegated to my own little bedroom. You know, just sort of gargoyling over my monitor, going, yes, all the anime. Now I'll actually be able to watch anime like a normal person, whilst still making that voice when watching it.
And you're
that's normal person voice.
Yes, anime.
And you're putting the Scottish flag in your face and scream freedom from your room.
Oh, you know what? You make a point. I'm keen to enact a scene from Futurama I quite like, where you have Dr. Zoidberg finds a large shell underwater, and because he's a crustacean type creature, he goes, "Look at me, Zoidberg, a homeowner!" And I feel the same way. I want to do that if I can. Paint myself pink, get some crab claws, make a video of just me wobbling around going, whoop, 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 pretending that I'm not pretending I am a homeowner now. But yeah, that'd be great.
So far from the place you lived before?
It's 20 minutes walk from where I currently live, so not really. So I could actually move most of my stuff on a trolley there if I wanted to, which is good because I don't drive. So yeah, quite easy to move back and forth.
So that's gonna be relatively easy to move.
Yeah. How about you, Qays? What's going on in your world?
Nothing as exciting as getting a new house, but it was just Mother's Day today. So
of course.
Talk to my mum, talk to all the women in my life, my mum and my grandma. Essentially. I watched a movie with my mum, and it was Maquia.
Yeah, you said that. So you watched it with her. What did she think?
Yeah. So I mean, after we all watched it together, I think that was like a few weeks ago. Yeah. And because Mother's Day was just coming up, I thought, okay, I need to get my mum a present for Mother's Day. We've just watched Maquia, all about being a mum. So yeah, got it for her. She was like, okay, let's watch it on Mother's Day. So we just watched it today, and I think she quite liked it. Like, she doesn't really watch any anime at all. I think she's probably seen like a Studio Ghibli, something like that. Like maybe Spirited Away. I can't even remember. But she's not exactly an anime watcher. But I said, just watch it, give it a go. It's about a mum, and she's like, all right. And yeah, she was like, at the end where we're just looking over, like, I don't want to give any spoilers, but the end is sad, and in certain ways,
definitely sad in general.
It's sad in general, but it's happy sad. You know, it's like a bittersweet kind of like there's happiness within the sadness, which is within more happiness within more. And yeah, we felt those emotions together, and it's nice experiencing with my mum. Yeah.
Oh, I'm really pleased to hear it. I'm glad that you got to share. I'm glad that you got to share your interest in such a way, because because it all relates to the theme of the day, which is Mother's Day. Yeah, even if there is a slight melancholy tinge to it, at the same time, feelings get across. That's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
How about you, Pabs? What's your week been like?
Oof.
Oof.
For the first thing, I've been watching the second season of Durarara, which is it's getting interesting, but it's repeating the same outline of the first season. So it's still good, but it's one point less good.
I've eaten this food before kind of feeling. It's not as exciting as the first time. I feel you.
I'm just really pleased because I remember I persuaded you to give Durarara a go many months ago. Now I haven't actually watched the second season, but you've watched more of it than me.
Oh really? I thought you watched all of it.
No, I've just watched the first season.
All right, so I am ahead of you.
Qays? I thought you were I thought whenever you gave a recommendation, that was it. You were on the line, finger on the pulse. Durarara, best shit ever.
I thought the same.
First season. As far as I could tell.
But
I'm impressed with your conviction, I guess.
The thing it blew my mind between the first and the second season, and they released it like 5 years apart.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
But after that, they released like the third and the fourth, like in a gap of 2 years. So
okay.
That's really interesting.
It was released. The actual show was released 5 years later. It's not that it's set 5 years afterwards.
No. It's the same timeline. They released the second season 5 years later, and from the second to the fourth season, it's only a difference of 2 years between second, third, and fourth. So,
is it still ongoing or is it concluded?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Interesting. That's something. I don't think you can say the same thing for other mediums like besides, so TV shows or films. It's very rare that there's such a length of time in between seasons. In fact, that I think it's good. I think it's good that you can kickstart an anime like that even after it looks like it's been not abandoned but left to cool off for way too long. So that's really interesting. I mean, that's the same with
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. Devil as a part-timer. There's 10 years between that?
Oh yeah, true. They took like
2013 or something like that.
13. Good lord.
7 and 8 years since 2013. But
2013. I thought you said 13 years.
Yeah,
what?
Well, we've got Shaman King coming back next season.
Yes, my boy.
That's it in my body. And the other thing I was saying of this week is I've been playing a game for longer than I should be playing the game, which is Rocket League.
Rocket League, okay.
Because I hated it back when it was released because I was so bad and I spent like 50 hours in the game back when it was released like 6 years ago. But now apparently I am decent and in rankeds I'm gold, so
you're climbing the ranks. Nicely done.
Yeah. But I'm just gold because I don't go up, I don't go down, I just stay gold.
Hey, you know what? Staying your course, that's not a bad thing,
I can say I keep doing Sawardo because I stopped the timing in the gold time. Nice reference to another anime. Golden Time.
You haven't watched?
You didn't? I thought you
haven't watched.
Sorry. Yeah.
We need to get you to watch that now.
Yeah, I have to watch that.
Eventually. All in good time. There's so much anime, it's always difficult. I mean, I find this all the time. But, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought. I had something interesting to say, and now it's gone. Isn't that always the way? No, it was Rocket League. Yeah, that was it. No, I do play that very occasionally, but I only ever play it with my sister, oddly enough. She's got a Switch, and she doesn't play many video games, but we both play Rocket League together on the same team with just some other randomer, and it is really fun because most of the time we don't know what the heck we're doing. Pretty much just reversing into the ball, even though we meant to be going forward, but we still win for some reason. So I like Rocket League because you can equally take it seriously and at the same time not take it seriously if you really want to. So it's a good game. So it's really fun to play.
And I got really frustrated because I started playing a game because a friend from Spain asked me to play anything, and it's like, okay, let's play just Rocket League to shut you up. And now I'm addicted. So, but because he's one of the best in the world, because he's like the highest rank, or something like that, and it's like, do you expect me, a City Call ranked player like me, to do anything against those monsters?
Yeah.
I know, it's great. I actually thought you were going to say this guy was trying to get you back into Rocket League over and over and over again, and then you finally relented and started to play it again, only for him to quit. Because that's happened to me with a couple of games where you go, all right, fine, I'll start playing. And then you're really into it, and then they leave, and you're like, well, I'm the only person playing this game I know of now. What's the point? And then you pay money for it every month. This is the story of my Hearthstone career over the past 7 years. I say career, I'm not getting paid for it. This is the story of my Hearthstone addiction for the past 7 years.
Say it as it is.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I have a problem. I go to meetings for it. They're very helpful. There's free coffee.
It's very helpful because there is free coffee. The rest is just okay, it's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, any topic you want to talk before we go to the main topic of the podcast today?
I think let's get into the meat of it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited. Sorry, yeah, you go.
Sorry. So today we're gonna talk about our 3x3 in anime, which we didn't rip off at all from another unknown podcast, a little bit underground. Maybe you hear about. It's called something trusted. It's Purple is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They don't own the rights to 3x3s. We're fine.
Technically, nobody does, but
exactly.
I mean,
it's good inspiration though. They're good at what they do.
I mean,
yeah, that's true.
We are taking a lot of inspiration because, you know, for me, Trusted is like my favorite thing on internet right now. So
yeah, Trash Taste got me through lockdown.
Basically.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. It is a nice thing to look forward to every other week. Actually, what's the frequency? Is it every week or every 2 weeks? Or
every week? Yeah. I mean, I noticed. I think I wait for Friday night and just listen to it throughout the weekend while I'm doing something like laundry or cleaning or something. Just keep it on in the background. It's just nice, It's a good kind of like ambient noise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so, who wants to start with the 3x3?
Qays, you go first.
Me first.
Give it to us.
All right. So I don't know if you guys have seen any of them yet, because we have kind of shown each other like hints and stuff of our 3x3s before, but I don't think you guys have seen mine.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen this one, definitely.
But okay, so going from the top left and going horizontally, so top left, top middle, top right, and what we have are Katanagatari, or sword stories. I don't know what the English name is. Then you've got Wolf Children in the top middle.
Yes.
Top right is Princess Tutu.
That I'm keen to hear more about.
Definitely. I think everyone needs to watch it. Then we've got the middle row. So starting from the left, going to right is Golden Kamui, Shaman King, which I know Ben likes to.
I'm holding back from squeeing.
Gurren Lagann. And bottom row is left. Oh, Pabs! You just need one.
Gurren Lagann's your favorite anime, Pabs. What are you talking about?
The only good thing of it is Shoko, but keep going.
Well, yeah.
Okay, then we've got bottom is Kengan Ashura, Rent a Girlfriend, and Haikyuu. So yeah, that's my 3x3. Any thoughts before I go into it, guys?
I'm curious to know more. I've seen a few of these. I've not seen a few of the others, but I've also know of them. The one that is most curious to me is the one in the top left, which was Sword Stories, you said, possibly in English, but what's it called again in Japanese?
Katana Gatari. So
Katana Gatari.
Gatari stories. So Katana Gatari.
Okay. Yeah. Give us some context, because that one's new to me completely.
It's an interesting one. It's I think 10 episodes. Not 100% sure, but it's one of my favorites. It's 10 episodes of, I think, slightly longer length. I think they're about 40 minutes each. And it just follows the kind of adventures of these two people, the two main characters, who kind of meet together to kind of collect all of these famous swords in the region. It's set in a kind of like a feudal Japan, kind of historic Japan kind of time. And it's not necessarily like, it's got action in it, and the action is very good, but it's not really an action-centered show. It's like more dialogue based, like between the two main characters, and like they're just quite funny together. They have a lot of quips with each other, talking to all the people that they meet. There's a lot of quirky characters that they meet. The story kind of evolves, and just a few emotional scenes as well. Is actually, I think, written by the same author who did the Monogatari series. And I never really got into Monogatari, to be honest. But Katanagatari just really blew my socks off, and I really loved it.
Is it set in feudal Japan?
Yes. So it's got that kind of vibe, which I always quite like Samurai Champloo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that leads me into my next question, because you mentioned Samurai Champloo. So Samurai Champloo toes the line where it's got that sort of, it's clearly set in feudal Japan. There's not much stylization amongst the character designs or the settings, but there's some sort of modern day anachronisms going on where there's the beatboxing, there's the break dancing, there's some modern inflections. With this series, is it strict to character designs and building settings of the time, or is there a lot more stylization going on? I'm seeing a lot of color in the image you've provided us with for this one. So is it flashy? Is it have people got the anime hair is my question. Has everybody got the anime hair?
So there's a few things to this. Like, firstly, when I think of Samurai Champloo and like the modern aspects, I think immediately to the music, with like hip hop kind of themes and stuff like that. And with Katana Gatari, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure like all the music seems very kind of older Japanese kind of influenced music. It doesn't feel modern. It feels kind of like historic. No way.
Okay, cool.
It's got that kind of vibe that it gives off. But art style, it's very kind of peculiar actually. Now that I'm looking at it, like the art style is quite, I wouldn't say blobby, but very kind of simplistic.
Okay.
So when you kind of give it a go at first, like it's very kind of like simple colors with quite thick black kind of outlines for all the shapes and everything. So it's like everything stands out quite well, and it feels more cartoonish in a way. But I mean, I personally like it, and I'm a kind of a big one of thinking like if you don't like something at first, you don't just like force yourself to watch it in hopes you like it. You kind of know soon enough if you like something or not. But I immediately did, and I think actually the way I got into it is I think I was on Mal one time, my anime list, and I think there was one forum post where someone put like one of the best kind of AMVs or something, and like they just got an AMV of like this Katana Gatari, the ending of Katana Gatari. Yeah. So the ending was actually spoiled to me before I watched any of it. So I just watched the kind of like this AMV, which happened to be the ending. I didn't know anything about it, but I had never heard of the show before. I think it's not especially popular, I don't think. And the ending was just so cool that I was like, okay, I have to watch this. And that put everything in context, and the ending was still impactful. So it was a pretty good ending.
I think this anime is not popular, but it's a niche between the community. But people who watch it say the same as you. Like, it's really good, and it has a unique way to treat anime, the style of drawing, and I think storytelling as well, because there are 40-minute episodes, which is the totally opposite of the 24 minutes we are used to in anime.
Are they actually 40 minutes each?
Yeah, so it's quite a dense one. I think its airing schedule was like once a month as well. I wasn't watching it while I was airing, but I think it was, so it's quite different in how it was kind of released and stuff like that. And I didn't marathon any of the episodes. I just kind of like felt like just having one by one, like one every few days and stuff, and that worked really well. It's kind of relaxing at times, but it's got a lot of different kind of vibes within the one show. Relaxing, energetic. Yeah. It's got a bit for everyone.
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely going to be adding that to my watch list. You've given me a lot of points. Like the length of it is really interesting. Kind of got that mini-series vibe to it. And the way you talk about the art style being, minimalist but still accessible, I think that really resonates with me. Like, that's the kind of stuff I go for in an anime. I like to be able to watch it and know, like you say, like what it's about straight away from the get-go based on the color scheme and the design. Yeah, no, I'm intrigued. That's going on my watch list. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it feels weird because I'm going to say after every single one of these, like, give it a go. It's a really good show. But
you're obligated to. It's a 3x3. I mean, if you didn't, why would it be on your list?
That's the point of the 3x3. Like, if you don't recommend it, it's like, maybe this anime is not for your 3x3.
True. I mean, I think the way I've done my 3x3, just for explanations, like, these aren't necessarily my favorite shows. Like, I definitely love all of them, absolutely. But they're not like, if I had to say, like, these are like the shows which I think I would score the highest, for example. I'll get to some other shows like lower down in the 3x3, which I don't necessarily think are the best shows in terms of quality, but each of these shows kind of represent a style of show that I like.
Yeah, I got you.
To give like a range of like my own whole like anime kind of like experience, I guess.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, next one, I guess. Yep. So Wolf Children. I remember, I think Ben, you quite liked
Yes, yeah. I love the director for this one. Like he did Summer Wars, he did the Digimon movie. There's
Girl Who
always
Leapt Through Time.
did he do the Girl Who Leapt Through Time, exactly. I like what he covers in terms of subject matter. So Wolf Children is a film I've always wanted to go back to and watch again.
Also, you have watched it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Have you watched it?
Not to me.
I would recommend it.
It's a very good film.
I am horrible with films. Like I need to be mentally invested to say, okay, I have to watch the film for over an hour and a half, because normally that is how long they are. So that's my issue with films. That's why I haven't still watched Your Name or how is called the other one? It became really famous. Sorry?
Weathering with You, or
that one.
Silent Voice, or
So yeah, go ahead with the.
Wolf Children. Like Ben said, I think it's a Hosoda Mamoru film. He's made some amazing films. I don't know which order he made this in, but I don't actually remember what year it came out. But it's a fair few years ago, maybe 2014. That's just a complete guess.
I think you're pretty close.
All right, I'd love to check it actually. But basically, it's about it's not too much spoilers, I think. But if you don't like spoilers at all, skip for a little bit. But basically, at the start of the film, there's this one woman, and she falls in love with this man who she finds is a werewolf. And in terms of, I think he's able to turn into a wolf whenever he wants to. It's not like full moon kind of time he has to turn into a wolf. I think, as far as I remember, I'm not into the specifics of this. More into the emotions you get from it. But yeah, he can turn into a wolf, and they fall in love and they have children. And for some reason or another, this woman has to bring up these two children by herself, and they can also turn into wolves, so they're her wolf children. And she calls them Rain and Snow, which is the name of the movie, Wolf Children, Rain and Snow.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, it's just like, it's all about like the trials and tribulations of her kind of having to deal with, one, raising two children by herself, and two, the fact that they're different in certain ways, in ways that she doesn't understand. So like she doesn't understand the kind of wolf part of them, the animalistic part, and the things that they kind of understand inherently, because that's who they are and how they kind of experience the world, but she can't fully grasp it. And so there's like differences with how they think, and in those kind of ways she has to learn to adapt to the parenting styles for them, for the two very different children, and just watch them grow up and try to be the best mum she can. And she really tries hard. It's a moving film.
I know you're talking about it now, and I'm thinking this is an equal contender for best mother in anime type thing. This would be another good Mother's Day anime, to be honest, because the parenting chops on the main character are fierce. Like she goes through quite a lot, and if it were me, I know I'd be exhausted as heck. So, it was such a good film.
Now, if saying it, I was really considering putting Makia up here. Because Makia has that mother vibe. This one's got the mother vibe. Wolf Children does. But yeah, I just love Wolf Children for loads of reasons. Maybe I'll watch it with my mum next year.
Yeah.
But this one is interesting because so I'm mixed race, and so having the half wolf, half human kind of element was really interesting for me, because it's like it's got a lot of there's of course I'm not half wolf, but I'm not going to get any of those kind of fantasy elements. But there's loads of things that you can take from the movie, which kind of I took as parallels to my experiences growing up with my parents and stuff. And because I'm from a split family as well, so I was with some of my parents part of the time. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of those kind of vibes of having a single parent and helping a single parent kind of look after children by themselves, and those struggles, especially when it's a single parent who's not of your race fully, and having to understand those kind of things. So there's just so many aspects which you can glean from it for me. And that's why I like Makia as well, because it's very much like a single parent looking after a child as well, which is a lot of those kind of moments, which is quite, I like them.
Oh, that's really fascinating, because I got a lot out of this film, but just to think that there are people out there who watch it and get as much as you do, so even more of an impact, that's really, really, really interesting to hear about.
Yeah, it hits so many notes, which is quite cool. And I feel like that's what it's got a lot of media. That's why I feel like there's no one kind of like film or anything that's amazing for everyone, because I feel like there's some things which are universally amazing, just really good shows, and everyone can like them. But I feel like the things that really get you are the ones which are like specific to you. And yeah, like this one, like for me, it just hits so many of those kind of notes. That, like, this is look at it and feel okay. This
is really strong, because I mean, you could get into a debate with someone about why you think something is good, and they could equally just sort of counter back with, well, I think it's shit. And you could equally just come back to them with Wolf Children if they were to ever say that it was bad, and say, listen here, okay? This has significance, all right? Your opinions, they are invalid unless you give me something of actual worth, of value here to be able to tell me, okay, I'll reconsider. But so far, this mother's done too much, and she does not deserve to hear you say that about this movie, you baka.
You baka.
And that person also used the reverse card of Uno. Your face.
Yeah.
Like, no, you.
Oh my god, my little sister's like 13, and so try to say anything to her, she just replies with "no, you."
Oh god.
God.
It's when your woman inside say like, "Shut the fuck."
Take us through Tutu.
Okay, Tutu. Yeah, we talked quite a lot about these. But yeah, Princess Tutu. Have either of you even heard of it? Because it is probably the most masculine show I've ever watched.
Oh yeah, definitely. Look at it. It's just got some, it's got testosterone oozing out of it, doesn't it?
You mentioned it to me the last time, and it's interesting, nevertheless.
Like, it is the most badass ballet fights you're ever going to watch in all of anime. So that's a statement. That's a statement. It's got banging music. It's got banging themes. It's got a whole kind of story behind it. But basically, I really want to tread carefully here because there's a lot to spoil in this. It goes really kind of like, gets really interesting. But I'm struggling to think how to explain it. But basically, it's about a duck who can turn into this magical ballerina called Princess Tutu. And she does this in order to win the affection of this prince who she loves and save him from this evil crow. And it's kind of narrated as if it's all from a storybook, kind of really weird, kind of creepily kind of like narrated kind of way. And you just kind of get kind of sucked into this kind of world and just find more and more stories within it and how they overlap, and it's an interesting watch.
Has it got? It feels like it's got a kind of Hans Christian Andersen sort of feel to it from what you've explained so far. There's a kind of a deeper. It looks pretty cute from the outset, but I'm sensing that there's maybe not necessarily something dark, but there's layers to it.
There's definitely layers to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Could we say we can add this arc to the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures series?
Definitely.
Because if you tell me this is like a stand of any of them, it's like, yeah, don't doubt of it.
The JoJo ballerina stand.
Yeah. I'd love
Swan Lake stand.
Yes, Swan Lake. Oh no, I'd love to see that.
Meanwhile, being a poser talking about JoJo when I haven't watched it yet.
Have you tried watching JoJo, by the way, Pabs?
I have to. I want to finish first Durarara, and then I'm gonna go ahead with JoJo. But first I want to finish Durarara, so...
But just context for everyone, by the way. Pabs is just known for his memes, like JoJo memes knowledge. So I feel like Pabs knows the JoJo memes like 100 times better than I do. But it's like, and then I think I was like communicating with Pabs with just JoJo memes all the time. He was like, oh yeah, it's from this episode. It's like, yeah, I haven't watched it. I was like, what?
I just have meme culture in my veins.
That's probably topic for another episode or something, which is the discussion of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and how it went from a little known manga series to a full-blown anime, all the way transcending past that and becoming common knowledge to the rest of the world who've probably never even seen anime, but they just know that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure exists and there are memes to be made from the content that exists there.
Exactly.
God damn the Japanese.
They're doing something, right? We're just never sure what.
All the memes.
Nice. Okay.
Oh. I'm imagining the images and there's everything.
Yeah, every time I see a meme out loud, I have the image of the meme in my head. Talking about JoJo, can you talk us about Golden Kamuy case? Because
Golden Kamuy,
I think like halfway you told us one time is like JoJo's vibes. No, it's not JoJo obviously, but
it's like just think JoJo, but more manlier and more gayer.
Is that even possible?
Exactly. That's that's the clincher, right? Is that even possible? And yes, it is. So it's got two main characters, Sakamoto, the immortal Sakamoto, and Ashirpa. And Ashirpa is this Ainu woman. And the Ainu are from the north of Japan. So Japan's got four main islands, and in the northern island is Hokkaido, and they've got like the natives of Hokkaido are the Ainu people. I think one of a few natives, as far as I can tell, but I think they're the most populous. And there's not many people like Ainu people like living in the traditional like Ainu villages anymore, as far as I can tell. But this is set back in like the early 1900s, I think 1905ish. I think after
I believe it's in the 20s because they already had because I watched when it was released the first episodes, and I think it's based in the 20s when they defeat the Russians in the first
20s. Sorry, early 20th century. I mean the 1900s.
Yeah, I mean in the 20s, from the 1900s.
Oh, sorry, 1920s. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, thanks. Yes, it's 1920 after the First World War. Then. Yeah. Oh, okay, because I thought it's after the Russo-Japanese War in like 1905. But yeah, fair enough.
Maybe I'm wrong. I think it was after the First World War. But anyway.
But yeah, it's definitely after a war, right? It's after a war in the early 1900s, and you've got a lot of kind of soldiers who fought in the war on the Japanese side, who fought in the war up in the north, and they don't have anything to do anymore because there's no war going on, and they kind of left, and they don't have any family to go back to sometimes, and it's a lot of those kind of problems, and you've got a lot of the soldiers left around in Hokkaido area. And this man, Sakamoto, the immortal Sakamoto, is kind of one of those soldiers. And for some circumstance, he gets caught up in this kind of mystery to find this Ainu gold, which is also connected to Ashirpa, the Ainu woman. And they work together in order to try and find and track where this kind of like gold treasure who was left by some Ainu person is somewhere they think is in Japan. And it just gets loads and loads of different people in. And each person they meet, each subsequent person is weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. You just got a massive gang of like the weirdest people you ever meet during the... Yeah. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, yeah.
I mean,
and also the main character Sakamoto looks exactly like Jotaro from JoJo, which makes the ora memes like whenever even better.
Imagine they had Jotaro in the series and they point at each other like the Spider-Man meme. Like, is that me?
Honestly, I feel like this is part 8 of JoJo or part 9 of JoJo. Like, this is just a lost like part of JoJo. Maybe JoJo part 3A.
It's a flashback.
Yeah.
Ooh. Historically speaking, where would it fit in the JoJo universe? So you've got JoJo Series 1 that's set in the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly. JoJo Season 2 was was it 20s? I'm not sure. Is there?
These are the questions.
No, actually, because it had a Nazi person in JoJo Season 2.
Yeah.
So I think it would have probably been like 30s, 40s. So
I think between Series 1 and 2 of JoJo, they skip a generation or something, possibly. I could be wrong. I am very out of the loop.
They skip a generation, I think.
So this is the hidden generation.
This is the hidden generation, yeah.
The superior German technology. Another meme. You're welcome.
Exactly.
The missing link. We've solved it, guys.
So
yeah,
the one is spent more interest of, and me too. I really like it when I was younger. The next.
Oh, Shaman King. Yeah, go for it, Qays. Tell us all about Shaman King.
Oh my god. So Shaman King, exactly. Like, it's a childhood, right? It's one of the coolest shows. Before I even knew anime was anime, it's the coolest show out there. You have like spirits. There's this. I'm not going to go into the story because that's not important. It's the coolness of it that's important. Just watch like a video of it. Just watch the opening. The opening is the best goddamn opening you're ever gonna hear, right, guys?
It was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it was a dope track back in the day. The English. I mean, I remember the English dub, and I still like the Japanese intro. When I looked it up afterwards, I thought, no, this is pretty fire too. I like this. Yeah, no, one memory is the Shaman King intro.
I need to listen to Japanese dub. I think of the opening. I feel like I've listened to it at one point, but honestly, the English one just gets
gets you pumped.
Gets me pumped. Yeah, if I want to like push out a set, at the gym. Yeah.
So
just listen to the Shaman King.
I have a personal trauma. I love the anime. Don't get me wrong, but I have a trauma when I was younger. I'll let a spoiler because I don't know in which point of the trauma is. So, the main guy got his soul out from his body through his mouth in one episode, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
And that I don't know why that image of him kinda dying because his soul was getting out of his body traumatized me, and I stopped it watching.
Oh, really?
When I was, but I was like 6 years old, so it's understandable.
Yeah, fair enough at that age.
So did you get a fear of your soul getting sucked out of your body from then onwards?
Not exactly. It's just the image of, because I don't know if he was dying or anything. It's just because I was raised as a Christian, and I went to like a Christian college, despite I'm not anymore. I felt like that was such a big of an impact for my 6 years old. Sorry, I don't know how to make it in a sentence. As me with 6 years old.
I see what you mean. When you're that young, these sorts of things, they hit harder because yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, coming from a Catholic upbringing myself, there are some things where they're not funny until much later, where you start to ease up on what you're told to believe, for example. So I don't know, I can imagine Pabs seeing that in your youth. It didn't feel like just something fictional. It felt like something that could genuinely happen according to what you're raised to believe to an extent. I think I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, kinda like that. And after I go one step further, and when I was 10 years old, I decided to watch Elfen Lied. So
10.
Yeah, fucking 10. And do you ask me why?
No easy roads, huh?
No, like for no weeaboos. Anything else about Shaman King?
I mean, I feel like I think Ben will go into it.
I'll certainly be extolling the virtues of Shaman King in my own little 3x3 later on. So yeah, if we want to cover this a little bit later, that's cool too.
Let's do that. I mean, for now, just the reason why I like it is because it's badass, and I always want.
Yeah.
My profile part picture is even Yo from Shaman King. Like he's laid back, he's cool, he's got spiky-ish hair. I want his headphones. I just want to be slick like Yo, and be able to be a samurai essentially. And I feel like I haven't changed since then of my youth. But yeah, next one.
Okay.
Pabs' favorite.
Yeah.
The best anime.
Pabs' favorite, which I think you've dropped now, haven't you, Pabs?
I dropped it in the episode 7, if I don't remember wrong. I have a personal war against the studio of Tiger Studio is called. Trigger, sorry. Trigger. See, I don't even remember the name because I don't care.
This is Gainax, I believe. I think this is still Gainax, or is it? I think this is Gainax.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This was Gainax just before they went over to being Trigger, or to a lot of the people going.
But pretty much it's the same people.
It's the same people, yeah.
So go ahead, and then I will say my unpopular opinion about this anime.
It's fine. But yeah, basically, Gurren Lagann is the most over-the-top show in any way. Like, this is like another example, I think, of shows like if you don't like it, you don't like it, right? Like, I feel like the hypeness and the exaggeration and the excitement just completely kind of. Hype is probably, if there was a genre called hype, that's my favorite genre of anime. Essentially, like, if I had to put all my favorites, it's just going to be like 9 hype shows. I mean, we've got one later with Haikyuu that's going to come in. But Haikyuu's got other stuff as well, but hype is just my favorite feeling. Anime just does it really well. And I think the show that does it the best in anime is Gurren Lagann. The drill metaphors, the kind of pushing the kind of relationships between Simon and Kamina. Kamina's amazing. Simon becomes amazing. You've got giant robots. I won't say what the giant robots do, but spoilers, but they're cool. Yeah. If you like hype, you like Gurren Lagann.
I have nothing more. I have nothing to add that Qays hasn't already covered, basically.
I know not talk too much about it, because if not, I can keep talking for an hour about
go for it.
How disappointed about this anime I am, despite I wanted to like it. Don't get me wrong. That's why I didn't drop it in the second episode. But I don't know. It's just there's too many things wrong. Like, for me, it's so important. Like, the individual characters and how they affect the history. But I feel like Yoko is just a pair of tits with a rifle. How is called the main guy with the sword? You just said it. Kamina is probably you don't know, because it's from the Spanish community, but the biggest anime creator is called Calatras. It's literally Kamina in real life. No joking. After I send you a link of him, and I probably gonna put it in the YouTube podcast, but it's literally him. And and the young kid, which I don't remember how it's called. For me, that guy should be the main one who should be driving the mechs, but because I believe the spotlight is always in Kamina, and then he's the one who's driving it. I only talking about the first 7 episodes, so I don't know how the roles go from that point ahead. And I just don't know. I tried. There are a few things I really like, but in general, it didn't catch my attention as much as I wanted.
I feel that's fair enough, because I feel like the first point you made with, like, there are loads of things which you just didn't like about it, and like it didn't add up, or like I feel like that's kind of true for a lot of Trigger shows, and I feel like that's the Trigger mentality. Like, for me, I like shows despite their flaws, and I'll still give a show like a 10 out of 10, even if it doesn't have flaws, if it has flaws, because for me, like, the 10 is not a cap, because I feel like I rate shows, or like experience shows, but like you can like just get as much of a show as possible. I don't look for a 10 as having no flaws makes it perfect, makes it a masterpiece. But for me, it's like the more it gives me, and more I can think about my life, and the more, like, you know, it kind of imbues into my life, the more I can get out of it, the better a show it is. And when it becomes so special to me that, like, I just couldn't have my life without it, that's what makes it a masterpiece. Even if it does have flaws, if the benefits outweigh it, that's what makes it good. So I get it. I think a lot of people I talk to, like, say, oh, for it to be a 10, to be a masterpiece, it has to not have flaws. But I feel like Trigger inherently just brings out loads of stuff. It brings out loads of flaws. There's lots of things to not like that might not click with you. But as long as you get those kind of 1 or 2 things which really do, it really executes them well. So I kind of get it. I feel like if you don't like,
yeah, I mean,
for that reason,
one of the animes I have in my 3x3, and we will discuss later on, which from what I understood you don't like, I don't know and which level is Yoyoseki or Tanya the Evil.
Yes. I just wasn't blown away by it. But that's all.
We'll discuss it later on, but it's like, I know there's a lot of flaws with it, but I still like it, so I get your point as well, like, but Gurren Lagann didn't connect with me in that way. Sadly, because you guys love it, and I wanted to love it as well, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
That media, you know, it has to connect with you, you know, and you just know when it does. Because I feel like there's one thing. Oh, sorry. What were you saying, Ben?
No, I was just going to say I'm a very forgiving and accepting individual, but Pabs is breaking my heart here. That's all I want to say. It's okay.
Just crying in the
carry on. You can carry on if you really want.
I'm sorry for taking your feelings and just step on them.
Fine. It's totally fine. You know, hearts are made to be broken. Carry on.
One thing, I definitely don't want to persuade you to watch it, because I feel like, I mean, you've already given it plenty of go, 7 episodes. Yeah. But one thing about Simon and Kamina that you mentioned, with Kamina taking the spotlight and Simon not going to the spotlight, not having confidence and not going for it, not having motivation and being pushed for things, that is definitely addressed later on.
Yeah, definitely.
So you don't have to worry about that, because I feel like if there's any show that makes you motivated, Gurren Lagann is that show. I'll watch the final episode, like, just on a whim if I want to feel motivated or something like that. So that's definitely could have touched upon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't like destroy planets like in the last episode or something like that?
Who knows? I think planets is a bit small, I think, for what they destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was misinformed then.
It goes crazy, let's just say.
Yeah.
Anything that can happen does happen.
All right, next one.
Next one is Kengan Ashura. I think, Ben, you've heard of it, right?
Yeah, I think I've watched all of it. I think I watched all the seasons and everything. So I could be wrong. I might need to catch up. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was a good. I mean, you tell us about it. Sorry.
Oh no.
This is your 3x3.
The more chat, the better, in my opinion. But yeah, Kengan Ashura is basically pure adrenaline, pure muscles, pure fighting. Like, I just love it. Basically, I won't go into the plot too much, but basically, it's about big men fight. That's what it means to me. I just want to see the coolest guys who have like big backed up, because basically you just got loads of fights with 2 people who are hyped up as much as possible. I like hype. And you get like this guy, he's trained judo for like 15 years. He's ripped out people's like eye sockets and like he's like killed like 10 million people or something like that. And it's like this guy, he's like been in the Navy and like he's killed a whale with his bare hands, like his hand is like a harpoon or something. It's like you just big these people up, like you got it's amazing. And you just like, when you get 2 people where you get bigged up so much, you're like, oh my god, this guy's a monster, like he could never lose. And you got 2 people like that every time. You just want to see who will beat the fuck out of the other person or beat the hell out of the other person. I don't know if we want to censor it or not, but yeah, it's like that's just a pure adrenaline goodness that I want to see, and Kengan Ashura delivers on it. I read the manga first. I love the manga. The anime's got some weird CGI. I personally was okay with it because I just love it. But yeah, I've been doing like martial arts since I was like a kid. I think like 8 or 9. So I was doing like kickboxing and kung fu. And was doing BJJ until lockdown happened, and then martial arts and like rolling around with people is probably not the best way to like, avoid coronavirus. So like sweating on each other is not a good thing for that. But yeah, martial arts has been in my blood since I was like a wee baby. So I've always loved like just seeing how someone can kick someone else.
Do they fight just like tournament stuff, or there is any other contest for it?
I would say the majority of it is just one big tournament arc.
Oh, okay.
And just a massive, like, I don't know, it's 32 people or so who all get built up as being the biggest macho people ever. And it's just, and you just want to, like, you know all the fights that are going to happen. And the tournament does conclude. Okay, I should have put that as a spoiler, but I think for me it's a good one that the tournament does conclude and it does have a winner. And you just want to predict who is going to win. And you everything's given to you, you know? And it's brilliant. You just see all these fighting styles like fight together. There's a brilliant fight. I think there's this one guy who kind of, I think, does kind of some kind of grappling martial art or BJJ versus one guy who's a lot bigger than him and is more of a striker. And it's just really interesting grappler versus striker, or smaller grappler versus like larger striker kind of like fight as well, with like the pros and cons of both of them. Of course, it's not going to be 100% realistic. It is a manga anime kind of thing, but it still did a pretty like good way of like dramatizing it. That was a great fight. But yeah, it's mostly a tournament, and it's really cool to see like predict who is going to win each round. And like I definitely tried to do that from the start. Do you guys like those kind of fighting ones where?
Yeah, huge fan of it. Where it's and I think this is actually something where Kengan Ashura does it quite well, because you find a lot of fighting anime where they're trading strategies in their head before they're delivering punches, and there's a lot of wait time in between actual strikes. Whereas Kengan Ashura, and I think it's because of the CGI. To be honest, I'm not a fan of computer graphics being implemented in anime, but I think Kengan Ashura did a decent job with it, to be honest. And I think, to its benefit, you see a lot of the speed, the physicality, a lot better through maybe more affordable CGI when compared to more expensive, long, drawn-out fight. So, like, there's a lot of anime series that a lot of anime fighting series where there'll be a few good fights, but there's one really big one where you get the proper frame rate, and you get the proper action, and you get the proper flash. Whereas Kengan Ashura, I found, was pretty consistent throughout each episode. Like, there's a big thing always happening. There's a really flashy stuff. And I think that's where CGI actually played quite, from my memory anyway. Maybe I'll go back and rewatch it and go, oh, I'm talking shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. But no, I watched it and really enjoyed it for the CGI and the fight scenes. Yeah.
I can't agree with you. Yeah, I think the CGI really added to the it made everything a lot smoother. You actually get the kind of choreography.
Exactly.
It just feels like the characters are a lot more hefty and like have more weight to them.
Yes, exactly. Very true. I agree with you.
But I could have I just love this kind of genre, so I could have put things like Bucky and other stuff in this category as well. But Kengan Ashura was my top pick.
It's not this the anime on which the girl fights the main guy and literally proposes him to have kids.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't know the animes. I haven't watching them, but I know the memes of the anime.
But that guy, he is cool. He is ripped. Like, he is gym goals. This guy, the main character. His shoulders. Oh, whew, he is gym goals.
You say he is Jim Goals, and I really want his name to be Jim Goals.
Jim Goals. Yeah, my name's James Goals. Jim Goals.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
A super Japanese name.
Make it happen.
I say love. But yeah.
So, rent a girlfriend.
So I guess it's kind of it's opposite in the sense of like this has gone from the most manly to the least manly. But I'd say
pretty much. Yeah.
A theme that's got in common is slightly trashy. I love my fighting shows. I love like my romance shows. I know it's trash, but like I just want to indulge in it, and that's what Rent a Girlfriend is to me. Like, I think I first got into it because I've been a long follower of Giguk. Absolutely love Giguk. He's got so many kind of good kind of emotional videos of like what anime means to him, and really, really inspirational. But when like I feel like a lot of his tastes, I kind of, because I've been watching him for so long, have like filtered down and like become my taste as well. So I kind of trust him whenever he says that he's really into. So as soon as he started talking about Rent a Girlfriend, I was like, okay, boom, I know I'm gonna like this show. So just got an episode up. I think it was like still airing at that point, but I think only like 5 episodes in or something like that. Just devoured them all in like one day. Became the show I was most looking forward to each week. Like quality is definitely not like highest quality or anything like that, but you really crave it. You really like, when you've got loads of shows that you want to watch if you're watching it seasonally, and there's some really high quality shows. You're like, okay, I'm not ready to watch the show yet. I want to be in the right mood. I want to properly appreciate it. No, Rent a Girlfriend. You just watch it as soon as you can, and it just doesn't disappoint. It's got all like the ups and downs. It makes you like heart go doki doki, and yeah, it's fun. And it's got the best stuff. Best wife in Chizuru. Like she's great.
So, I love the anime. Like, the only two main things I don't like of the anime is the concept of rent a girlfriend. For me, it's a little bit bullshit. No, not gonna lie. I mean, I can understand it because it's like the lower level of prostitution. Like, it's not that level, but it's under level. Like, you're having a relationship, like spending the day with a person, and pretty much that's it. Which is a real thing, I believe, because I recently watched like a video on YouTube from a guy who does absolutely nothing. He just get paid to spend time with that person in Spain. So in Japan, I think it makes sense. Probably this exists on Japan. And
I think,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking there are some shows where I feel like the context is really important and I want everything to be accurate. Like Golden Kamuy, I feel like the historical flavor adds to it. There's some shows which I don't care, and that's Rent a Girlfriend. You know, like just like they can put themselves in whatever context, and like okay, they've just made up the context for entertainment purposes. It's got a Rent a Girlfriend thing, but then I just want to see like the fun kind of things that come out from that. I don't mind too much. Like the whole Rent a Girlfriend thing is kind of weird. But I don't really give it too much thought because I just use it as a vehicle to allow the comedy to happen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I totally agree. From the things I don't like of the anime, that is the less important one, because it's like, it's just a contest for the whole thing. But the main guy, oh my god, it's like I know a lot of times the main guy in a lot of animes is kind of like a loser in general, but he's in another level. And how is called the blonde girl, because I hate her so much.
Mami.
Oh my god. Such a bitch.
She's not great.
She's not great.
Qays, she's not great. Meanwhile, such a bitch. And for the rest of the girls are lovely. The Shizuru is just amazing character. She does it because she wants to become an actress, I believe. The other one who discovered what is going on, it's a lovely person as well. And the shy girl is just adorable. Every time she tries to speak, and she cannot because she's too afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
I want to watch it at some point. I've not seen any of it. I am a little bit hesitant just because I feel this might be one of... Yeah, I think Qays mentioned it earlier where, you know, if you are not into it the first couple of episodes, you are within your right to drop it. You don't have to follow through with it. I guess I'm second guessing myself. I'm thinking it's going to be the kind of series where I watched a couple of episodes, got the feel, the taste for it, and gone, yeah, okay, don't really need any more. Or I'll say I'll watch the third episode and I'll get around to it. But I am intrigued to ask about something that Pabs mentioned earlier. Is the concept of Rent a Girlfriend? Is it if it had a real world equivalent? Is it likable to that thing in Japanese culture, the compensated dating, or is it less seedy than that? Is it a, you know, like talk me through the service that these girls provide? Is it simply I'll go on a date with you, or is it, you know, like?
You think, but perhaps you might know more because I don't know anything about the Japanese.
I don't know how realistic is with the real thing, but this actually, I believe this exists in real life in Japan. But I don't know how accurate it is.
It's not like necessarily about accurate. I guess I want to see it as a vehicle that highlights some of the stuff that isn't necessarily talked about too much. So compensated dating has been around in Japanese culture for decades now, and the trope is that you have high school girls or just out of high school kind of girls going out with older men just because these older men are lonely. But then there's also there's that other side of it where, you know, you'd kind of know where I'm leading with. I don't have to mention it. There's the other side to it. So I guess with Rent a Girlfriend, what I'd like to see, one thing that would make me watch it is if it addresses it as such, or if there's a, I don't know, does it refer to the culture of this sort of transactional dating at all, or is it merely a vehicle for the main character to wise up and start, actually, I don't know, getting better at relationships?
I think it's just a vehicle because they don't get too much into it. Like they actually explain how it works, and even one of the main characters says like she only gets a really small part of what she got paid from the customer. So they actually explain what it is about, but they don't shows the dark side of it, like you could think, because that is technically illegal in Japan. But of what I could read, they don't wanna do anything even if you do it, because it's illegal, but they don't have a punishment for it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I'm not even necessarily referring to the illegality of it, or I'm not saying there's criminal activity going. I guess I just, I don't know. There are some anime I would watch for the story. There are some anime, as Qays has said, I'd watch it for, the fists crashing into faces. And then there's some anime which bizarrely tickle my fancy because they go into the real nuts and bolts of a thing that they look at. I'm trying to think of some examples, but what's it called? What's the anime called where they work in an animation studio? Is that Bakemono or is that something else?
Shirobako.
That one, Shirobako, that's the one. So like, I wondered if perhaps Rent a Girlfriend would have vibes similar to that, where the plot is there, but the plot is actually a vehicle for getting to see the industry in the back. So I wondered. That's all I was really curious about. But that's interesting.
Rent a Girlfriend is just a pure romance drama with a lot of drama. If you're going into it, kind of have an exploration about the societal effect of renting a girlfriend and the dark kind of like corners of that, you're not going to get any of that kind of stuff. I feel like documentaries will do a lot better job. I'm sure there's documentaries out there. This is
but I like my cartoons. See, when documentary and cartoon have a baby, that is where I'm like, yes, my boy. There's people getting what I want.
They need to animate more documentaries,
They do. I'd watch more of them. I know it's basic and tech for me to say, but I'd watch them.
VR, like, what was it? VTuber documentaries.
No, see, that's 3D. It needs to be 2D.
There's actually a lot of VTubers which are 2D.
But then they're not VTubers. This is a discussion for another day.
I feel like we could go on for a long time about VTubers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take us through the last segment of your 3x3 case.
Last one, another show with some brilliant hype is Haikyuu. I don't know who has watched it already. I think Ben, you've watched the first season.
I'm getting through it. Yeah.
And I remember when you started watching it, it's like hype. There's so many cool teams. You just love all of the characters. Basically, if anyone hasn't watched it, it's about volleyball, but it's about so much more than that. It's about hopes, your dreams, your determination, your drive, your teamwork, your with friends, everything. It's that classic top of the top shonen stuff. Talent versus hard work, all of these things. But it's basically about a short kid who really wants to play volleyball and really enjoys it. But he's short. He's not going to be the most naturally talented at it. But he really gives it his go, and he does good stuff. So
that's basic. That's it.
Who really love what they do and really succeed after trying hard. I love that one.
I mean, many anime totes the maxim of "I'll never give up." And it's it's part and parcel of the whole deal of anime. All of them pretty much say at some point, "I never give up." But with Haikyuu, whenever someone says, "I never give up" or "I'm not going to quit," you believe it. You know that they're not gonna. You look them in the eyes, you hold them by the shoulders, and I go, "I know you'll never quit. You'll take us to nationals. I believe in you so hard too." I don't know. It's like you said, it's real emotional.
True, but at the same time, it does show characters who have given up. And what happens?
That's true. Yeah. And
idea to it's full of so all of those really integral parts of sports anime. It goes through lots of different people because you have so many different teams that they meet, and it shows different effects of those teams with with that try hard shonen never give up.
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting to see all the kind of different angles on that.
See, now you catch my eye for the anime, because before you say like they never give up, this is the hype train choo-choo, but now you told me there is like characters actually give up, and maybe how they are going through it. I guess that they saw that as well in the anime, I suppose. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna give that a go, at least to the first season, and see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the first season is all you will need. The first season is all you will need to carry you on through the rest of it. I'm sorry to be jumping on your train here, Qays. I just want to say, because even like, I don't know if you're going to cover. I find Haikyuu really progressive as both a piece of Japanese media and a comic, aimed at young boys as well. Because it like you mentioned earlier, it's not just about never giving up. It's about giving up as well. There is some real. It actually alludes to a lot of mental health problems as well, like people who've maybe left the team and are afraid to come back because there's been too much time in between, or even not being able to get past a certain, I don't know, other team, and they just keep feel like they're trying but not getting anywhere. There's some really poignant stuff being covered there that a lot of stuff, a lot of manga stories even today don't address.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's gone through certain things which this kind of anime kind of touches upon, with like trying hard at something, maybe not succeeding at it straight away, maybe succeeding after a while, or just all those kind of things connected with like succeeding. I mean, I feel like no one who hasn't had any worries about succeeding with whatever it may be, your work, your relationships, whatever. Everyone's probably got worries about that, and this touches on it in a really good way.
It's basically human nature. So
yeah. Very.
I feel like sport. It's probably really get to like the heart of human nature as well.
Yeah, this is probably one of the Haikyuu, and it's a good one to end on as well. It's probably one of the most human anime I know of, for sure.
And it's animated beautifully. Like the amount of bird imagery and crow imagery you get is.
Didn't you mention one time like a real volleyball player have a look at it, and it's like, yeah, it's actually a little bit over the top, but the moves and everything are correct, or something like that you mentioned?
Yeah. I think I read an article. Yeah, there was a Korean or a South Korean volleyball player who had watched the series and said that while the technique went a bit over the top here and there, they also acknowledged that the author clearly, truly had a love for the game. There was just that word right there, love, real passion for it. It's exactly that, passion.
Yeah. And I never knew anything about volleyball before watching this, but now I'm really looking forward to like probably the next World Championships, whenever that is, for volleyball. And I'm gonna actually try and watch it. I think I was talking with you about this, Ben, but I feel like what Haikyuu does and what you can do with like a pre-scripted animation is you could get the most amazing sports kind of journeys, the most amazing sports events, and you can you can fabricate it. So like you can make the most exciting kind of aspects of the one championships all happen. So you've got all the best cliffhangers, all the big rivalries and everything, and you can script it in a way that it just becomes gold. And that's what they can do.
Yeah.
You get these like a really cool rivalries in sports. And it's amazing when it happens in real life naturally, when you have these really cool like teams that have this history of they've won has won the next one, who will win the next thing, that kind of stuff. But you can like manufacture it in anime and just make it every single game a perfect game in terms of stakes. And
yeah, exactly. You're so right.
All right.
But yeah, one question about my 3x3. Are there any shows that you guys thought that I would have on there, or like a show that I talk about a lot and you're surprised not on there?
Interesting.
Gurren Lagann, Rota Girlfriend, and Guden Kamui weren't a surprise at all. Haikyuu, I expected as well, because I think you mentioned it in the past. Summon King and the fighting one, which I already forget the name of it.
Kengan Ash.
I didn't expect them. And the top ones, the one on the left and the one on the right, I I just didn't even consider them. And Wolf Children is like, yeah, if he adds anything, probably that is gonna be one of those.
I will say that, I don't know, I get the impression, Qays, that your love for anime is so strong. I find it very difficult to believe you having any dislikes. So I feel like a 3x3 is maybe too small for what you would. You should actually probably do a 9x9 of all your favorite anime. 81 different anime.
I feel like every single one of these represented 8 shows. So each one of these could have been 9x9. There's so many shows that missed out, like Evangelion, Hunter x Hunter. You're right, cutting down to 9 was tough, right?
Less so for me. I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this sort of stuff over and over in my head for a while, so I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to put down for mine, at least. But it's very visible. So you look at my Mal list of anime I've watched. So I've put 91 down or something like that. Meanwhile, you've got something like 400. I don't know. So it's pretty. I don't know. It's I felt like it all made sense. Those are all good shows that you put on yours. But I've never heard you speak of an anime besides Shaman King that, you hug yourself over because you think of it and it makes you feel like, yes. So, but only because you probably do that with every anime I've ever heard you talk about as well. So when everything is special to you, nothing is, if you know what I mean.
I really do get what you mean, because I feel like I try and put quite a bit of thought into not necessarily the story of each anime, but definitely the life lessons you can learn from them. It may sound really corny, but I feel like from every anime, there's definitely life lessons you learn. I think we're going to go into later, or some point, I want to talk to you guys about Toradora. And the main character, Ryuji, he's a really hardworking guy, And Toradora's, I wouldn't say is the most kind of life lesson learning show, but you definitely can glean a lot of things of how to treat relationships, romantic with your friends. Yeah. Working hard by yourself, how people view you. I mean, if you want to, you can kind of definitely put a spin on anything that way. So I feel like, for me, I measure anime before, not by how little flaws something has, but how much I can get from the anime and kind of mull it over, inject into my life. And so for all of the animes, I try to do that emotionally in terms of life lesson. Definitely.
Yeah, I feel it.
And so for that, I feel like pretty much every show, you could definitely at least get something from
it. Ben, would you want to do the 3x3 then?
Yeah, sure. Let's roll with it. Yeah. So let's go through mine. So my 3x3 consists of, from top left to right, then middle left to right, then bottom left to right, in that order. We've got Digimon Tamers. We've got FLCL, or Fooly Cooly. We've got Caricano, or His and Her Circumstances. And in my fourth slot, I've got Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, but this is where I'm cheating a little bit. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid could equally be swapped out for Lucky Star, in that they both occupy that same sort of slot for me, and they kind of flicker back and forth. I'm just going to mention Lucky Star could be there, but right now Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid fits that slot. In the middle, we have Mind Game. The middle right, we've got we've got Gigantor. I flubbed the name there. We've got Gigantor, or Tetsujin 28, the modern version from late 80s. And then we've got Redline, the super fast space car film. We've got Shaman King. Shaman King should be in the middle, to be honest, because it's kind of the heart and soul of anime for me, but it's at the bottom for now. So Shaman King, and topping it off with Tokyo Godfathers. Tokyo Godfathers being the last one, yeah. So, should I ask if either of you have any questions before I go into some detail for each one?
I just want to say I'm just happy that 2 of the movies, like Redline and Tokyo Godfathers, we've actually watched together, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
same. I didn't watch the Godfathers one.
You didn't?
Nope. I didn't.
Oh, you'll have to wait for this Christmas coming now. 9 more months.
Yeah.
Best movie.
So we're starting with Digimon Tamers, I guess. I mean, like most kids, I don't know about you guys, but when I watched Digimon, I didn't even know it was an anime back in the day in my youth. But Yeah, but I mean, and I loved it. I mean, don't say better than Pokemon. I mean, in the very first series, in the very first couple of episodes, you see small dinosaur Agumon just suddenly turn into this massive Godzilla beast thing with a helmet, and you go, okay, hands down. Why the fuck am I watching Pokemon? Digimon clearly outclasses it in every single way.
Greymon is Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly. They're gone, sorted.
Yeah.
And, so Digimon Tamers was an interesting. Digimon Tamers felt like it grew with the audience in a way. Like you had Series 1, which was really cool. You had Series 2, there were some darker themes going on over here. And then Series 3, it's not necessarily dark, but there's some very adult themes. You mentioned, Qays, about taking away some life lessons or some something learned or something you weren't sure about before until having watched it during the anime. And Digimon Tamers, I don't know, it had some interesting bits to it. I'm trying to almost write a thesis, though not quite because I'm lazy. But I mentioned this in a chat we had previously that I believe Digimon Tamers is a better Neon Genesis Evangelion. And you can fight me on that because I do not have the tools to back my own fighting up with. But I just think there's so much to it. Like I say, there's the parenting aspect, there's the responsibility aspect where these kids have got these creatures. And, your main dude, Takato, has a dinosaur. He's basically birthed a dinosaur from his imagination, except it goes around destroying stuff, eating things it shouldn't. He has no control over this creature. Meanwhile, Henry has got a bunny dog type Digimon who's all cute, but the moment he digivolves, he's unable to control the firepower he now wields. And then you've got Rika, the Ice Queen, who's got Renamon at her side, and Renamon is like the most un-rookie level Digimon there possibly could be. It's just very skillful, very powerful, basically an adult being led on by this child. And this is just the first 10 episodes. Like it gets even deeper, and it deals with death. It deals with the loss of a loved one, and I don't know. There's some really interesting themes there, and I don't think it's a surprise considering I forget his name. I'm really bad with names of authors and directors and writers, and it's a bad thing of me because a lot of these shows come from the director's vision. So it's really poor of me. But it's worth noting that the director or the writer of Digimon Tamers is a known author in his own right. He wrote I think he wrote the concept for the Big O series, and he also did some Cthulhu-esque type stories as well.
Oh, nice.
Very eldritch. Yeah, he goes into some deep, not traditionally, but still kind of influenced, not traditionally Japanese sort of storytelling. And I think he's up there with Murakami of 10QT4 fame and so on. It does some interesting stuff, and the fact that he helmed a children's show, I don't know. It grew up with me in a really interesting way. I think Digimon Tamers, while not required viewing by everybody, those who did grow up watching it, transitioning from the cutesy Digimon phase onto something a little bit. It was a middle ground. It was a gateway for me from youth to young adulthood, I suppose.
For me, I watched a Digimon as well. I don't remember if it was this specific Digimon or the other series, I believe. I don't know because I was really young.
Yeah.
But I always thought like Digimon, the animated series, is way better than Pokemon because that is like the classic fight of series.
Yeah, you're either for Pokemon or you're for Digimon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And apart of that, I cannot say much. I mean, it's childhood basically.
I think we were talking about it a bit at the end of the episode. Because I think we entered a bigger Digimon tangent.
Oh, was it the last podcast? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we did, because we were talking about Pokemon for a bit, and then we ended up talking about Digimon. I think we talked a bit about Tamers. Remember when we talked about Ikemon and his kind of character growth as well, because that's one of the things that stands out to me. Because definitely Takato and Gilmon, Henry, and all of the pairs, actually. Because, I mean, one thing I like working with pairs of characters, like Simon and Kamina, Gon and Killua, Hunter x Hunter, Simon and Kamina, Gurren Lagann. But Digimon has always held a place in my heart because it gets a lot of amazing ties between characters. They inherently work in pairs.
Yeah.
Because every kid is contrasted with a Digimon that brings out the kind of character growth that they need. For example, one of the aspects, like from the original series, you've got Joe and Gomamon. Joe is completely unreliable, but he's got the reliability crest, which in Digimon like is kind of each main character has a partner Digimon, and in the first series they have a crest which shows the kind of like main kind of like emotional, like what's the word? I don't know. But attribute, exactly, attribute that they kind of represent. And I don't want to go into any details, and there's not much to spoil, but basically the Digimon push them towards that attribute just in some way, and it makes it just really clear and obvious. So it's brilliant for a children's show because the child immediately knows what attribute they need to focus on when each character's having their arc. But like, even though it's obvious, it still could be nuanced, and I feel like Tamers does it really well. Like, and those pairs are brilliant.
Some of the best pairs.
Yeah.
You're on the Pera Pera cast. That's an inside joke. If you get it, then you're truly in tune with us.
That was brilliant, mate.
And let's move on to my next one. So this is pretty standard, I think, in a lot of people's 3x3s. I think it's gotten to the point where it's almost. I mean, I think a lot of my choices are quite basic, I suppose, but I'm proud of my basicness, and I will happily go on for days about Fooly Cooly. It's I don't know. It's the fact that it's 6 episodes long. It's got style coming out of its ass. It's just it was basically it's the poster boy, or was anyway, because Gainax has recently not been so great, but the poster boy for Gainax. What else can I talk about when it comes to FLCL? Why does it stick with me? I think one, the soundtrack is just banger after banger, and me growing up in Malta, very much a summer country, 95% of the days of the year are sunny days kind of thing. FLCL has this sort of summer vibe to it. You hear the cicadas, the nights are cool, the days are bright orange or pale yellow. It feels very watercolory, the world that FLCL occupies. And in so doing, our main character Naoto is kind of disillusioned with adulthood. There's he's bored. Like, you don't really see anybody around in the world that FLCL occupies. There's a few people, but it's very unpopulated. And that, again, resonated with me growing up where I did, in the part of Malta that I did, where it was still quite new. And so there weren't many houses. And I sort of, not saying like I would, finish dinner and go outside to play and there'll be just this wasteland ahead of me, but it was quiet. It was empty. And the fact that FLCL ran with that, but introduced alien aspects to it, or just a few odd things. And again, there's that, it's quite abstract. It goes for adulthood and what it is to be an adult in a world full of adults that are not adults and are instead mostly just children-minded. It's, I don't know, it speaks to me in a lot of ways that I can't really describe with words, which is good because FLCL doesn't really describe much with words. It describes a lot with great cutscenes, great action scenes, great load of color happening all at once. It's just, I rewatch it pretty frequently. It just, it occupies a proper space in my heart that, I don't know, and shoves off every other anime that tries to take its place. Yeah, I don't know.
I really love that description of it because I've seen FLCL, I was blown away by it. I mean, I'm a big Trigger Gainax head as well. It's like, but it's like the one thing is like, what does it mean though? And like, yeah.
And like I don't feel like it needs. I love symbolism when I can see it in anime or when I figure it out eventually. Like, oh, cool, or not even anime, any sort of medium. I go, oh, cool. Like I get why this was that. And FLCL has some of that. But it doesn't encourage you to find these things either. It doesn't dress itself up. It doesn't sell itself as a puzzle you have to figure out. You can, and that's what's fun, I think, when you compare it to other people's experiences watching it. FLCL, you can take stuff away from it, and somebody else could be taking something else away from it. And I think that's what it sets out to do in its own abstract. Much like an abstract piece of art on its own, I don't know. It's a good example. It's a good experiment in communication, which is what any anime, any TV show, any musical artist strives to do, is to communicate ideas. And if you could communicate multiple ideas past the time you're allowed to do so, I think you're succeeding. And I think this did.
Guys, just don't check my anime list.
Why?
Oh no!
Wait, did you give that LCL a bad rating, mate?
I don't remember if I gave it a 5 or a 6.
A 5 or a 6?
You're just stabbing us in the heart now.
I just don't know. It's every time I still trigger is any involved in any series. It's like, here we go again.
Here's some made up nonsense which has no kind of relation to real life in any way.
I am holding back from doing some very obscene things, but you know, it's fine. It's totally fine. You're entitled to think whatever you want. Whatever you want.
I think the first time we meet in real life, you guys are gonna arrive with a double barrel shotgun or something like that. Okay, time to pay.
You're gonna smack in the face with a guitar, mate.
No, mate, I'm just gonna go full Clockwork Orange on your ass, Pabs. I'm just gonna sit you in a chair, keep your eyes open, and subject you to the best anime on the planet. Because clearly, you have to be forced to recognize, which is fine. I can facilitate that. I would willingly do so.
And I will be
getting a bit compassionate.
And I will be throwing up for the following 3 hours because I cannot take any more shit.
I guess the next one in the list, number 3, is Caricano. And similarly, this is a really fascinating one to me because I watched this in Italian, not knowing much Italian. But again, it was great in that I could watch this romantic comedy anime with some serious undertones. It got a lot more serious towards the second half of it. I could watch this in any language and still get one because the imagery communicates everything you need to know. You know, young girl is putting up a front to appear to be the best, you know, the top 3 in her school. And in actual fact, she just, you know, lives off of the praise. She feeds off of it. And then there's this young chap who's in a similar position, but they both fall in love with each other based on the fact that they're both hiding something. They're keeping up appearances. And that's all. That really is covered in the first couple of episodes. The remainder of the episodes, they introduce more characters. There's some great animation sequences. This Caricano is a Gainax series. This is something to take home, okay? It's again, it's got good actions. And what's brilliant about it, and I think it's comparable to Sailor Moon in that the Sailor Moon anime, if you compare it to the manga, which is one of the most shoujo things on the planet, it borrows the storylines, it borrows the characters, but the actual exchanges between characters are very different. And this is something you notice with shonen manga being turned into anime. There's very little changed, really, except for plot purposes, you know, things like filler added in. But when shoujo manga get turned into anime, they're tweaked to be a bit more universally friendly. So Sailor Moon was very, very pretty as a manga, whereas the anime still equally pretty, but there's a lot more comedy, there's a lot more anime hijinks, there's a lot more, you know, pulling a hammer out of nowhere and banging it on someone's head for comic effect. And Caricano, similarly, the manga was very, very, very pretty, very sparkles, if you know what I mean. But the moment, and this was, I think, the first half of Caricano was directed by Hideaki Anno, the director of, yeah, exactly. And so it's got that moody feel.
The director of what? Right now I'm totally lost.
Hideaki Anno, the guy who directed Evangelion, basically.
Oh, okay.
So Caricano occupies this weird place where there's a lot of moody stuff going on. It's all in high school, and these characters are experiencing some really heavy stuff. And there's a lot of poignant moments. There's a lot of deep, dark silences in between things. And I don't know, I think it really highlights adolescence quite well in that, you know, you're going through changes, you're experiencing your first love, you're experiencing jealousy, you're experiencing, I don't know, the paranoia and what's the word? Self-consciousness that comes with, you know, getting older and, I don't know, having these experiences for the first time. Again, the opening, other stuff I like about it, the opening is pretty damn solid. The music's pretty great. I had to hunt down the soundtrack recently, and the nostalgia. And there are some action sequences, which again, they lend themselves to Gainax or trigger sort of tropes in such a way. It was the first, I think Caricano was the first time I saw a Gainax level kind of animation sequence where two characters are chasing each other down a hallway, and it's bombastic and loud as you could possibly imagine. Like one of them kicks off a shoe at the other character, it spirals off in like almost like a missile formation, swoops past some other characters. The other characters wonder what's happened, and 3 seconds later, there's the throwback from the amount of G's that the shoe kicked past people. I can't even explain it. All I could say is go on YouTube, anyone who's listening, type in Caricano and Tsubasa Chase, and you will not be disappointed. And that's for you too as well, definitely. Look it up, be impressed. Do it. Caricano, yes. And very hard to find these days, I think, because the original film got lost or burnt or something in a fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I found some copy of it, some shape or form, but it's not great condition. Oh, and it was also an anime that Hideaki Anno famously kind of left halfway through, and the original author of the manga really disliked the adaptation. So it's got controversy surrounding it. It's an interesting beast. Yeah, really, really it is. Really good. Any thoughts before I move on?
I really like the way things you said right back at the start, which was how both of the characters don't show the full side of themselves, or they don't. Not that they don't show the full side of themselves, but like putting on a front in some way. Whether that, it'd be interesting. I don't know how far it explores it or what direction it goes, but I really like that kind of like thing, that kind of concept. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it. Like, is that part of themselves at the front that they're putting? Is that another part of themselves, but like the kind of idealistic way they want to be? Do they want to go towards that, or do they feel like they're being pushed towards it? How do they kind of like come to terms with like mending that? Do they kind of give up on actually trying to be that thing and just portray who they are, or do they try to work harder in order to be that thing? I don't know. There's so many aspects to it that sound interesting.
I will say that all of this and more is definitely addressed in the series, and so you won't be disappointed in that way. It kind of ends almost abruptly, sadly, but it definitely covers all of that, and you will, I don't know, people change, but do they get better is the thing that comes with this series, that's for sure. Yes, they do sometimes, other times maybe not so much. It's all very perplexing. It's good. Yeah. It's good drama.
Changing is an interesting one, you know? Like a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't change as a person, or like no one should make you change. But like, if you're changing in a direction that you want to change it, you know, if you want to improve yourself, like that's not a bad thing. And I think there's a lot of like, the problem comes when like, is it you who wants to change? For example, if you're in a relationship and someone wants you to be more like this or something like that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like if it's a good thing for you to change in this positive direction and you are on board with it and they'll support you, that's a brilliant thing. If they're pushing you to change in a way that you're not comfortable, then it becomes bad. But knowing if you are comfortable with it or not is kind of hard, I think.
Definitely.
So that idea of changing to something else of who you want to be or who you're portraying as to make your actual real self become more like the person you're portraying yourself as. I know, it's an interesting concept. It
is. Yeah. And definitely. And it plays with that. And that's something I like about anime. I think that's, we were talking about lessons learned and so on from anime. And I think with anime, it's never, like you say, there isn't really a lessons learned section. There's never an end of an episode, like in Grey's Anatomy or Scrubs, where they go, and I learned that day not to trust strangers or something like that. I can't think of anything ridiculously funny. But with anime, you're left to interpret. You're left with some goings on. Something happens to a character. They either got over it, they got better, or they didn't. And you're left to make the decision yourself whether that change or thing that occurred was a good thing or a bad thing. It's never absolutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if you are not agreeing with what the character chose, is in the end is the decision of the character. What Qays say, like, is the point of change good for you? That's what matters.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. I'm moving on to the next bit, just because I can cover this one quite quickly. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is, I think it gets asked a lot. What actually is a guilty pleasure? What do you consider it? I don't know if I think I do consider Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid a bit of a guilty pleasure, but at the same time, I'm not all that guilty. So is it really? I just know I enjoy it a lot. Similarly, for the same reason, Lucky Star, it's just cute, it's fluff. There's, it's really sweet with the interactions between characters. Some of those character interactions are a little bit on the shady side, but this is anime. We signed up for it at the beginning, and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. When I watched it, I was going through some stressful times in my life. Pretty much every other month of my life has a bit of stress applied to it. But yeah, man, we all do, and I feel like it's good that anime like this exists, where you could actually turn it on, switch off, and just let your cheeks get rosy with the kawaii-ness that comes out of it, and that's what Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid does for me. I watched it all, I lapped it up. It soothed my weary soul when it was first airing, and I'm glad to hear that the second series is underway.
My thoughts of it is, how many times she's gonna offer her tail until she accepts? Yeah,
no, there's some weird stuff going on there. I can't agree with you more, because sure, I mean, if that's how you want to show affection, yes, please eat my dragon tail. That will make me happiest.
I haven't watched this. What is this that they do?
Right, you've not seen. So the main character, the one in the middle, right?
Okay, yeah.
So each of these girls are dragons that have taken human form, and so I've forgotten what her name is actually. What's the main dragon's name?
I don't know.
It's been a while. See, I'm terrible with names. I like colors, flashing colors. This is why I want documentaries in cartoon form, because I'm a monkey brain. Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is a doodly doo. Oh my gosh, look at me! I'm looking this up like I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, it's not like it's one of your favorites or anything.
Toru. Yeah, it's not like it's in my 3x3 right here. Toru is the main dragon girl, and she falls in love with a human. So instead of being her partner, because the human character is obsessed with maids, she decides to become her maid, because this is anime. And one of the things she does besides cooking and cleaning is she tries to. So when she's in her human form, she keeps her horns, and her tail is there as well. So, because anime. Again, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is the anime that is because anime. Instead of cat girls, you have maids. Yeah. Instead of cat girls, you have dragon people. So she retains her horns and her tail. And apparently, I don't even know if it's specific to culture. I think this is just Toru's weird way of showing affection. She desperately wants her mistress, the main human female protagonist, she desperately wants her to take a chunk off her tail, which she can grow back at any time she wants, take a chunk of said tail and eat it. So like, yes, nothing would make me happier, nothing would make me feel more accepted as your romantic love interest than if you were to eat a piece of me, because sure, why not?
Okay, no kink shaming.
See, this is it. Like, amidst all the weird stuff, I can go, of course. I'm still just, I don't know, get under the warm blanket of fuzziness that this anime gives me.
I feel like after we've watched like a fair few anime, it's like you just kind of filter out the weird stuff. I feel like if you show people who haven't watched any anime, this is a safe slice of life show to show. Like, what is going on? You're like, I didn't think of this as weird, but now you're thinking saying it,
That's what exactly happened there. It's why I fell over words and everything. I thought, wait a second, this actually is a bit bizarre. What was I watching? But you didn't think it at the time.
And don't remember the blonde dragon one is with a fucking kid.
Yeah, that's not so great.
Yeah.
No, this is exactly why Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, it sits in my guilty, not so guilty kind of pleasure thing, because as I've gotten older, I do still enjoy a lot of anime, but there's still some parts of the anime sphere which I do find problematic. But at the same time, I know it's different cultures and so on. I'm not gonna, I choose to not ignore it, but I choose to see it for, I guess, no, it's a tough one. I can't really justify some of the aspects of it.
It's just
at the same time,
but mostly it's just a chill out series, exactly, and that's it.
that's what the show is advocating. The show is not advocating some of the more stranger parts, but yeah, that's exactly what. It's yeah. And similarly with Lucky Star, honestly, there's some parts of it which you kind of go, not quite sure if I approve of this, but you carry on watching anyway because cute. Yeah. Moving on to the middle one, which could easily be my middle home star of why I like anime, Mind Game, from the director of recent Devilman Crybaby and Time is Short, Walk On Girl, or Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar actually to A Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Mind Game takes I don't know, a relatively realistic situation, injects it with color and bounciness, like a lot of noodle arm sort of stuff. I think even I don't know his name. Qays, if you want to round off the name for me, because you're a wizard. Masaki Yuasa, there we go. He also directed an episode of Adventure Time, which kind of says something as well. Mind Game, I can't really give away the plot of sorts, but it's one of those, it's the kind of plot is, it presents you in the beginning with our protagonist with two choices. And you see for the first 2 minutes what would happen if he says no to talking to his childhood sweetheart, and that's it. 2 minutes, doesn't go anywhere. And then it presents you with the path of what would happen if he said yes to this one thing his childhood sweetheart says, and the full plot unravels because of that. There's a fair bit of time travel type stuff. There's a lot of abstract things going on where they play with fantasy and dreams. And I will recommend, because I found out about Mind Game through, and I think, what was the series that you mentioned, Qays? The series that you found out about through? Oh, it was the
Katanagatari.
Yeah, you found out about it through an AMV, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I found out about Mind Game through an AMV, and it was basically just a YouTube video I happened to find, because YouTube, that's it. Sometimes you just find it in your recommendeds. And I would urge anyone who's interested to look up in YouTube Muxmool, that's MUX MOOL, so Muxmool, and the name of the song is Skull Taste, and it maybe sound a little bit ominous, but it's actually quite chill, and it's kind of a bleepy bloopy soundtrack. But there's one person who took the song Skull Taste and set it to some animation from Mind Game, and I saw that the animation sequence from Mind Game is one of all the characters rowing up a waterfall, basically, and it's frenzied. It's I don't know, it's a case of never giving up. It's a case of like the boat crashes and they're split apart. It's hard to describe, but it's a fever dream, actually. So the music of this song Skull Taste, which is quite calm, interlaced and spliced to this animation sequence where Mind Game in itself is a big old fever dream in a lot of ways. A lot of the stuff that happens is straight out of a nightmare, but not a heinous, terrible nightmare. Just one of those kind of dreams that you have that are deeply uncomfortable, but there's no reason why. Mind Game occupies that speed. Mind Game uses that speed, that adrenaline sort of feeling. It's Masaki Yuasa, I don't know, the way he communicates with such squash and stretch kind of animation, and similar you could see in his other works as well. Did he do Ping Pong, or was that somebody else's? I've not seen Ping Pong. I feel
like he did. It just looks so much like his work.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm gonna check it. I'm pretty sure.
Even if he didn't, you look at Ping Pong and you go, holy heck, am I having a stroke or something? Just things are happening.
You're right, it was him.
There you go. See, I mean, I've not even seen Ping Pong yet. That's on my list.
Yeah, because it's also a unique way of the drawing in comparison with most of animes.
Mind Game does that. Mind Game, I will tell you, makes you ask yourself, is there anything I regret in my life? And should I perhaps take it up again to pursue it? It really asks some deep questions. I'm finding it difficult to give the premise away without giving it away, but I can only recommend it based off of the illustrious career the director has had up to this point. If you like any aspect of Devilman Crybaby or Ping Pong or Night is Short, if those aspects that you like are shared across, then you might as well pick up Mind Game, because that was the one he pretty much started with. That was the beginning of the beginning of his work.
I definitely can't wait to try this out. I just had a look at the thumbnail for the Mux Wool thing of them rowing. It looks very red, very bright, just from the thumbnail. But
it's got that sort of, it's actually, I mean, it's hard to, because that scene is very red. And I don't know if you've ever been involved in or if you've ever seen an orange moon, or if you've ever seen
one of the super moons, which go
moons or monsoon weather where water's coming down from the sky in buckets and the whole world is just drenched in red. It's very, very similar sort of feeling. I think even that scene in the music video I'm talking about, in the actual film, there's a lot of frenzied jazz music happening at the same time. It's just like frenzied drum rolls, big fills. It's, I don't know. It gets you hyped, but in a different way. It gets you hyped in a edge of your seat. Everything's moving way faster. I don't know. It's a bit like watching Mind Game is a little bit like getting high or getting drunk, where your body's not moving, but you feel your brain spinning. It's that kind of a feel, Mind Game. Very much so.
Definitely a unique experience.
Yes, I recommend Mind Game as an experience. It's you can watch a lot of animated movies for the quality, the color, and so on, but Mind Game, you don't watch Mind Game. Mind Game just happens to you. Let's move on, because I feel like I'm waxing on for a lot of these.
Keep it going. I'm loving it.
Keep it going.
The next, no, we're good. Well, the next one is Gigantor, and this is here just because I love giant robots, and Gigantor was the first anything I ever experienced where there was a giant robot, and I just went, holy heck, that is so cool. He is so tall. He doesn't speak because he's a robot, and he's friends with a tiny boy. Why is he friends? It's just like, I'm a young boy, and I want to be friends with Gigantor. And I was it was one of those, when it comes to giant robots and anything that you pilot, in a way, it's this weird feeling I find where you kind of want to be the pilot, but you equally want to be the robot. You want to be both. And it's, I don't know, it's very present in a lot of different media. Even things like Pokemon, where you're training a Pokemon and you tell it what to do. When you play the game, I don't know about anybody else here, but when I played the game, it was this weird transitionary thing where you definitely pretended in your head that you were the trainer sending out your Pokemon to do this stuff. But because you were choosing the attacks and the Pokemon was committing to the attacks, you also felt this sort of in-sync thing of being the Pokemon too. So Gigantor occupies that sort of feeling of, it's a bit of a power trip. You're this huge robot, and I don't know what else to say about Gigantor other than Gigantor, or start the theme tune, Gigantor.
For the thumbnail I see here, it feels like a really 70s, 80s anime.
Yeah. Gigantor is like one of the original Tetsujin 28, I think, was one of the progenitors of the mecha kind of style of, definitely.
The only influence I have, like Gigantor stuff, is Mazinger Z.
Yeah.
Because basically my father, when he was on his 20s, late 20s, 30s, he watched it. So I maybe have a little bit of influence to like anime because of this, despite he doesn't watch anime at all. But
I mean, back then, your parents, if they did watch anime, they wouldn't have called it anime, would they? They would have just been called cartoons, or even maybe this cartoon was from Japan. And similarly, Gigantor, when I watched it, no idea. It was just a cartoon, and it still is a cartoon in my head, because I probably would only watch Gigantor in English, weirdly enough. As much of a sub person, sub versus dubs, I'm definitely subs kind of guy. I would probably watch the dub of Gigantor over and over. And I'm so glad I got to hug Gigantor's leg in Kobe when I visited Japan in 2017.
Oh,
I was just like, yay, I'm finally home.
Now we are one.
Yes, now we are
You've got your large giant robot.
I'm
little boy with the robot.
Exactly. I'm climbing his leg, going, get in the robot, Shinji. I'll show you getting the damn robot. I live here now.
Just your heart just secretly wants it to just awaken when you come over, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so true.
All right. Let's go with the most intense anime.
Redline is the best. I still felt a little bit, because I remember watching the trailer and the teaser trailer when they were still working on Redline and watching it over and over and over and over, repeating. And it was a very bad quality rip as well that I just happened to find on YouTube. But I was so hyped for the end product. And I was both disappointed and not disappointed when the full film came out. I think I was disappointed because outside of the beginning and the end of it, it's kind of almost filler, because the first and the last race are the most high action, high octane parts of it.
Yeah.
And I was also disappointed that the frill was, Redline was one of those things that I'd been waiting for years and continued to wait for, because there was always a snag, there was always a development difficulty. So Redline is that Redline's on this list because of the passion, production involved, and how I can't even begin to, just so many feelings attached to this one. In terms of plot, there isn't much of one. It's wacky races, but in space with a bit more violence. There's different races involved. There's a lot of cool character designs, and it's again one of the last great full 2D cell animated productions out there, and no expense. The soundtrack, banger after banger. Honestly, I listen to the soundtrack on Spotify very often. Yellow Line is oh my gosh, yeah. I do not drive. I can't drive. But Yellow Line makes me feel like I can drive. Yellow Line, I don't know. Yellow Line has me this close to, elbowing into, I don't know, a car's, side door and just smashing through the glass, climbing in. Exactly, yeah. Yellow Line is dangerous, yeah. Very good to run to, though.
Ben be like, I don't need a car, I am the car.
Exactly, basically, yeah. If you're not careful and you listen to Yellow Line, then you just, you start making motorcycle noises and running around trees going and that's, I basically describe why I like Redline. It makes me feel like I'm a car. I don't know. Like Gantor made me feel like I'm a giant robot. Redline makes me feel like I'm a car. Just, you see the action sequences, and well, I say action sequences, but the sequences in Redline where he's throwing the ignition, putting the throttle on, the accelerator, you see the machines move, you see the V8, you see the fuel injection. These are all words I have no idea what I'm talking about, but just all the stuff happening all at once to denote this vehicle lurching into further action, rocketing past other things. It's just high octane thrills, man.
Do you know? Oh, sorry, Qays, go ahead.
I was just thinking those set clips where they put the fuel injection and you just see your face just kind of like mush as you're kind of going to light speed, kind of feeling, with the music and everything put together. Oh, yeah, you're a car.
Yeah, I am the car.
What are you saying, Pabs?
Do you know the way this film will be a 10 out of 10? Don't doubt. There is two ways. If the film were 45 minutes and only we had the first race, or if they made the second race as the first one, but like more intense,
superfluous stuff, just the race,
like getting the trust all the worst shit they had in the second part and just focus on the race. Even if you want to add more weapons to the vehicles to fight each other, but within the race, no outsider stuff going on.
I feel like the best things of Redline were from the trailer, essentially. The trailer really were the best things of it. And like all the other things they added on weren't as good, and it just detracted from it. Even though they had to pad it out.
I think the concept of Redline, was enough on its own. It didn't need to be a film. I'm still glad that I got a full hour and a half to 2 hours of it on, Blu-ray for me to hold on to forever, so I can play for as long as I want to. But it is basically the world's longest music video with some people talking in it occasionally.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean,
And some cats going broom broom.
Yeah, exactly. Redline. What was I going to say? Redline is a good example if ever you want to ask yourself, is too much of a good thing bad? And yeah, I feel like you give yourself the answer after having watched it. Redline just, it sits there and you go, oof, I'm full. Is this finished yet? But you also don't want it to be, because there's maybe a chance that there's some more cool shit going to happen around the corner.
Yeah, and the ending is really, really cool. So
it is, yeah.
It's so over the top.
Oh, so good.
So next one, as mentioned by Qays in his own 3x3, the man of the hour, the shining diamond, and the shining diamond. Yeah, Shaman King. Shaman King was a game changer for me. Shaman King was the anime that happened at the same time that I decided I wanted to be a manga author, a mangaka, and move to Japan. It happened at that point in my life, okay? Shaman King was like, yes, this is what I'm going to make. This is what I'm going to draw. These are the stories that I want to tell. And it was so true, because Shaman King, stylistically, there's aspects of mecha anime to it. There's some giant robot stuff going on. There was a lot of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure happening in it before I even knew what the heck JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was, like the concept of stands. Yo Asakura, as mentioned by Qays, it was a solid dude that we all wanted to be. I mean, you mentioned about wanting the headphones at one point. I did have a set of orange headphones. You know how circumoral headphones are like all the rage nowadays. Everybody wears like big chunky cans all the time now. Mate, I started wearing those things back when it was so goofy as heck and people called me a moron. So
I'm so jealous right now.
I still keep them. They're broken now. They don't work anymore because I was not rough, but I've since gotten better at looking after my stuff. But I used to wear them all the time. I think they were a brand, WESC, or We Are the Superlative Conspiracy. I don't even know what they were called, but they were a decent pair of headphones. And yeah, I wore them. I had long hair at the time as well, so I basically just wanted to be Yo Asakura, and I was basically succeeding when I was like 14. I was basically Yo without actually being Yo, which was sad. But I don't know. Shaman King, Hiroyuki Takei. I've said before, I'm bad at names. Hiroyuki Takei is a man whose name I will remember forever, because stylistically, like the way he not the way he draws currently. I think it's fine. I still enjoy his work, but I much preferred his earlier work than to what he does today. What he draws today is a lot sleeker, a lot more polished, and I think that detracts. Like, there's so much. Like, one of his most recent mangas, I think, was a one shot, and it was about cars, and I think it was about a guy racing a Dodge Viper versus someone racing a Lamborghini, and there's so much shine and glare over the distorted and twisted bodies of the cars that you're not quite sure what's going on. That's just almost too much sensory overload. Whereas Shaman King was mostly illustrated during a time where the characters were larger than life, the limbs were big, the outlines of characters' hands and feet or facial expression, they were thick black lines. There was a lot of graffiti influence to it, and it was an art style that spoke to me. A lot of big chunky body types, a lot of big flowing cape sort of stuff. I don't know. Shaman King, stylistically, flavor. Qays has already mentioned roughly what the premise is. It's about shamans being possessed by spirits, and one of them has to be the king of all shamans to kind of circumvent a cataclysm of some kind. There's a lot of religious stuff going on in the background. I mean, no, actually not the background, the foreground. There's a lot of culture. Like, if you wanted to know about Japanese culture, Shaman King was great because a lot of the characters came forward and from different, there's an Ainu character. There's a lot of asceticism being, like, for example, Yo Asakura's dad is a Shugendo monk. I don't know. I could go on about Shaman King. I have already sort of rambled about every other anime leading up to this. Shaman King, I could ramble on forever to the point of not making any sense. It occupies a space in my heart. I think all of these do, but maybe this one more so.
I felt like the crew dynamics was what stood out for me in the Shaman King as well as all the lore and folklore and all the things you can get from it. And by the way, I didn't even know that Horo, the blue-haired guy, was Ainu until I was chatting to you, and you're like, he's Ainu. I was like, oh my god. I didn't even know because we were talking about God and Kamui at that time. But yeah, it's the crew dynamics of Shaman King which really got me. How all of that, then Horo, Yo, Ryu, everyone just kind of comes together. And
it's true.
You mess with one of them, you mess with all of them, kind of thing. Even Ryu as well. Morty,
Yeah, Ryu was a great character. I love how he can't turn from this punk into... And I mean, the idea is that these kids or these characters all fight because it's a shonen manga, it's a battle manga. But the fact that each of them is actually, attuned to the spiritual world, I think that's fun and great because you have Ryu's character who's a thug, basically.
Yeah.
But then he goes through a traumatic experience enough that he starts to be able to see ghosts, and now he's a medium between the spiritual world and the physical world. And so he's still a thug. He's still kind of, obsessed with women. But the fact that he's got that sort of deeper meaning to him now, I don't know. Each of these characters basically has danced with death a little bit, and that's how that's a cool thing. So in order to up their power, they have to have near-death experiences.
Spiritual enlightenment.
Yeah. Oh, love Shaman King. Forever and ever, baby. Looking forward to the anime.
He was my coolest guy as well. As an antagonist. I think when I was younger, he was the coolest, most badass guy.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was just going to say that, for all the things I tried to mimic, like the headphones and stuff, the Zeke or Hao Asakura trousers with suspenders, I thought, that's really cool, but I can't pull that off as a thing. So
that's the notch too much.
There is a limit.
And I feel like the Spirit of Fire, I don't know why, but when that was just the kind of like epitome of just badass.
Yes.
Cool spirit. Like it was sleek, it was mecha, it was spiritual, it was fire, like damn.
Oh, and to finally, because I've gone for way too long, but I'll finish up my 3x3 with Tokyo Godfathers, because I mean, it's a Satoshi Kon movie. He's quite well known. Gone past it, gone way too early. He'll forever be missed. But Tokyo Godfathers is special to me because I almost don't consider it an anime. I consider it just a very good film on its own, and probably one of the best Christmas movies, honestly, ever scripted and created. It's bizarre. It doesn't immediately talk about Christmas, but it's set during Christmas time in a country that celebrates Christmas in its own way. But the themes are very family oriented. The themes are the fact that it's about three homeless people who try to, find an orphan or an abandoned baby. Yeah, they find an abandoned baby and they try to find its parents. And the journey they go on and the pitfalls they fall through, and the genius cinematography of Satoshi Kon, where there's always something going on in the background. No frame feels wasted. It's a good example of I think, Chekhov's gun without being Chekhov's gun, where everything that happens within the anime happens for a reason, but it doesn't point to these things and say, yo, remember this bit for later on because, it's going to factor into why this is happening. But if you do happen to catch it, you go, oh, of course, that's why they're still alive, or that's why they're here now, because they talked to this character earlier on. It's just a well-crafted movie. And I don't know, I think everybody needs to watch it around Christmas time. That's just it. Pabs, you listen to me, you need to watch this movie.
Yeah, I know I have to. But I need to wait 9 months for it now.
It's my favorite Satoshi Kon movie. Paprika's great. Perfect Blue is great, and they're all really good on their own terms. But I'm a big fan of Christmas. I like Christmas and what it means, which is everybody just getting along for a short space of time. Everyone meeting up with people they've maybe not seen for a long time. Satoshi Kon, you did wonders with this one. You I don't know, best Christmas movie. Tokyo Godfathers, not about the mafia, in case you ever in case some people assume it is. So I'm just saying for the record, it's not a crime movie, okay? Although some crime does happen.
I feel like in anime in general, never go by the title. Never even go by the synopsis.
Gosh,
if someone says this show is about this, it never is.
It's the best synopsis you can have is or watch a trailer or watch the first episode, and then decide from there what you want to do with that.
That's my 3x3.